it's a government agency that is into developing IT solutions, and we have been developing IT applications in healthcare. Telemedicine is one of those, and we recently developed personal health records management system, which will be rolled out by the Ministry of Health. And while developing the system, we faced very interesting challenges, which I feel that the government needs to address before banking heavily on the digital health agenda. One of them is that while designing PHRMS, we could not find a government-owned or a registry of drugs or list of drugs which we could load into our system, and then the doctors could use it while writing the e-prescription. And till date we do not have, so our system is basically weak on that aspect. And then another aspect what we've seen is Aadhaar, you would have heard. It's a universal database which sort of touches almost every information system that is being designed around citizens. And in PHRMS, we wanted to source the KYC information, demographic information from the Aadhaar's database. Ours was developed, PHRMS is developed in .NET, and Aadhaar doesn't support any of those connections. They only support open source systems or systems designed around open source softwares or tools. So these kind of challenges, and the government doesn't have arrangement to provide these. And similarly, there's another application called eSign, which will empower the e-prescriptions when they are used in telemedicine or personal health record systems. So these are the challenges that we are facing as developers. How do you think that your system would circumvent or address these challenges here?
It's a great question, Sanjay. So first of all, we have the same challenges here. People think, right, wrong, or indifferent, people think that the United States and Canada and Europe have figured out all of the systems integration with respect to electronic medical data, and we haven't, is the honest truth. We're nowhere near where we need to be. So we're in the same boat that you are. However, the progress that we've been able to make is in the following areas. One, when you start to look at the advent of standard health data exchange protocols, like HL7, like CCD, or perhaps even more, one of the more prominent ones is FHIR, H-I-R, Smart on Fire. And the industry is starting to rally around, so we have the Epics and the Cerners and the McKessons and the Kaisers, and we have pharmaceutical companies, we have the Walgreens and CVS, we have the FDA, all involved at the VA, the Veterans Administration, just to provide healthcare for military veterans. All of these organizations are rallying around common standards, and there are now companies that are starting to build, if you would, standard plugins that allow plug and play. So one example of such a company is a company called Human API. And Human API, they're based out in the West Coast. They're founded by, or co-founded by Eric Schmidt, the former CEO and chairman of Google. And the idea is, you create, if you would, a meta level, so an intermediate level integration between these databases and different sources. So today, for example, Moonstar connects into Human API, but Human API then allows us to connect to different labs. So Quest, LabCorp, to different pharmacies, could be Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid. And so we're starting to make progress by creating, if you would, this meta level. I think in many ways, India and other countries should take a very similar approach, but they should learn from our mistakes, because as Rajendra will tell you, we've been at this systems integration thing for almost a decade, and it still doesn't work properly. And we've made a lot of mistakes along the way that the rest of the world can learn from. So I think first, response to your question, I think the meta level approach is the right approach. Now, on the earlier question you had about drugs and a singular drug database, there are some good drug databases that we came across in India that have a broad spectrum of drugs across multiple disease states, including generics, and they also have the ability to accommodate herbal supplements, vitamins, homeopathic agents, Ayurvedic agents, And so there are these drug databases do exist, and maybe you can connect Rajendra and he can connect you to me afterwards, and we can share what some of those databases are. But we have to work toward this meta level is really the answer.
Thank you, Doc.